are the most influential people in American history? Are they who you think they are? Or are they different? Or is the person who is the most influential in American history yet to come? But that doesn't make sense because he hasn't had any influence yet. Or she hasn't. Or they haven't. But, so let's take a look back in history and check out who are the most influential people in American history. And I got 10 trailblazers in American history right here for you. Starting with number 10, John Wesley Powell. A very famous trailblazer in American history. Then, coming in, Kit Carson. This guy is pretty cool too. And then we got Sacagawea coming in at number 7. And then we got John Muir coming in at number 6. And then we got Lewis and Clark. Meriwether Lewis and William Clark coming in at number 6. Or after the last one. Then we got Amerigo Vespucci. Finally, nah, just kidding. Then we got the boy John Smith. Then we got my boy who landed on the moon, Neil Armstrong. That's the man, the myth, the legend. A true trailblazer in humanity. First one on the moon. Then we also have my boy Henry Hudson, who was the first person to see the Hudson River. Nah, just kidding. Maybe. But I don't know, maybe not. And then we got my boy who founded America. No, just kidding. Who found America? Christopher Columbus. The mad lad. The myth. The Spaniard. Who came across in a boat. Took 66 days or something. 2,000 miles just on the wind. Pretty cool, boy. Pretty cool. Then we got some famous rebels and resistors. My boy Malcolm X. And then we got my girl, Elizabeth Cady Stanton. We also have Sitting Bull. And then we got Tecumseh, boy. Then we got my boy W.E.B. Du Bois, who is the boy. And then we got another girl on the list, Susan B. Anthony. Cool girl, man. Cool girl, man. This the chick. Then we got Frederick Douglass. Very famous resistors and rebel. And we got John Brown. And then this man is a famous writer who's up next. Thomas Paine. He wrote the Book of Pain. No, I'm kidding. He wrote a very, very famous book in American history that you should all read. And then we got a rebel, a very famous rebel, Robert E. Lee. Some of you might not like him, and some of you might like him. But he's very famous. And he was the Civil War general. And then we got the most famous resistor or rebel in our country, Martin Luther King Jr., going away from the pack and making his own way like a true alpha in America. Or do we think the most influential president is the most influential person in America? And then we got some of my favorites. Do we go with my boy Andrew Jackson? Or maybe my boy James Madison? What about Woodrow Wilson? Oh, no. What about Franklin Delano Roosevelt? He was cool. Or was he cool? What about George Bush? Oh, what if we think about the first black man in the presidency? Barack Obama. Barack Obama was a true trailblazer president. And then we got my boy Ulysses S. Grant. Or what if you're a real rough riding Theodore Roosevelt? Or what if you want to write the Declaration of Independence? Or all the other founding documents in American history, and your boy's name is Thomas Jefferson? Or maybe you want to free all the slaves in American history, and your name is so famous, it's Abraham Lincoln. Or maybe you just want to go to war against the Brits and kick their ass. Not once, actually only once in your lifetime, because your name is George Washington. George Washington. He's got 2 states named after him. That's how cool he is. And then we got the first woman. Maybe you don't like the presidents, you just want the first woman. We got Oprah Winfrey. She's not a first woman, but she is a famous woman. I guess this list should be famous woman. Maybe we should do a Bette Davis. Or maybe Edith Wharton. Or maybe you're just a fan of Jane Addams. Or maybe you want a little more of the truth. With a little Sojourner. With the Sojourner truth. Or maybe you're blind and you're deaf. But you still do something with your life and your name is Helen Keller. Helen Keller. Or maybe you're the First Lady and your name is Martha Washington. Or maybe you live in a remote place and your name is Sarah Palin. Or maybe you are the most likely woman to be president of the United States, but you lost. And your name is Hillary Clinton. But what if you're even more famous than that woman? And your name is Eleanor Roosevelt, a true First Lady. Or maybe you're one of the most famous Native Americans of all time, and your name is Pocahontas. Very cool lady. Maybe you don't think that either. Maybe you want the most influential American to be an outlaw. A true outlaw. Like Lucky Luciano. Or maybe John Dillinger. No. Lee Harvey Oswald. What about Wild Bill Hickok? Or what about Charles Manson? No. What if you were William M. the Boss Tweed? Nah. Your name is Billy the Kid. No. I'm so good at my job, they had to get me with tax evasion. Al Capone. Oh yeah, what if I killed a very famous president? Because my name is John Wilkes Booth. But what about Jesse James? Or what if you are the most famous outlaw in the Revolutionary War? And your name is Benedict Arnold. Some very famous outlaws right there. But what if you're looking for an artist? An artist in American history. Are you going to look at Ansel Adams? Maybe you want Alfred Stieglitz. No. What about Thomas Nast? What about Thomas Eakins? What about Georgia O'Keeffe? No, I like John James Audubon. What about Jackson Pollock? Cool paintings. But is he as good as James Abbott McWheeler Whistler? Or what about Frederick Law Olmsted? But what if you are named Andy Warhol? Or Frank Lloyd Wright? Very famous artist right there. Who's the best? It's up to you. Maybe you want a religious figure in American history, like Billy Graham. Or maybe Mary Baker Eddy. Or Cotton Mather. Or Ellen G. White. But what if my boy is a scientist? And his name is L. Ron Hubbard. Or what if his name is Jonathan Edwards? Ann Hutchinson. Roger Williams. What if you're so famous you founded a university? Brigham Young. William Penn. Or what if you're so famous that the entire Book of Mormon is written after you? Joseph Smith Jr. What if you want some pop icons? Here's a couple. Like Mary Pickard, Louis Armstrong, my boy Frank Sinatra, Playboy magazine, Marilyn Monroe, Jimi Hendrix. Famous movies for my boy Charlie Chaplin, the King of Pop, Michael Jackson. What if you want some Bob Dylan or some Madonna? But what about some Elvis Presley? But what if you just like Mark Twain? Mark Twain. But you don't like artists, alright, so they can't be the most influential. What about some empire builders? Like Steve Jobs, Cornelius Vanderbilt, Bill Gates, Howard Hughes, William Randolph Hearst, Thomas Alva Edison, Walt Disney. What if you're a banker? J.P. Morgan. What if your name is John D. Rockefeller and you like oil? Lots of oil. Henry Ford. First car. Manufacturing. Nah, just kidding. Because my boy Andrew Carnegie makes that steel. But what if every one of those doesn't fit your bill and you like athletes? Well, Billie Jean King has so famous he got a song written about him. Secretariat. Dope horse. That's not even a person. How cool is that? My boy Jim Thorpe. But what if you the Hulk and your last name is Hogan? But what if you just played basketball? Michael Jordan. Ty Cobb, anybody? You like him? What about
The Arnold Schwarzenegger. That is the boy. The governor. The Terminator. What about
James Naismith? Or what about Jackie Robinson, number 42? So famous, he had his number retired. I think throughout all of baseball. Could be wrong on that one. Muhammad Ali, anybody? Very famous boxer. Good dude too. Or what about my boy, Red Sox, Yankees baseball player, Babe Ruth? But what if everything that I said hasn't fit your bill? Maybe you know somebody who is the most influential person in the moment in American history? Leave it in the comments after you hit the like and subscribe button. And thank you for the video.